Hi, boys and girls. I wanted to read another story to you because you know that's one of my favorite things to do and one of our favorite things that we did when we were in the classroom together. I chose another Robert Munsch book, and this time the story is called Smelly Socks. I bet you're making some connections right now in your head about smelly socks and stories about smelly socks. When we were reading our Robert Munsch books before, we talked about author's craft, and I want you to think about some of the things that Robert Munsch does in his books that are author's craft. So take a minute. Can you come up with 1, 2, or 3 things that we've learned that Robert Munsch always does in his stories that when you read them, you're thinking, oh, right, this is a Robert Munsch book. This is something he always likes to do. This is his craft. This is his style. So think about that for a minute. I'll give you some thinking time. So when I came up with the ideas in my head, I repeated them inside my head so that I was ready to share them. So one of the things that we talked about is that Robert Munsch likes to make the reader laugh. I'm wondering if you came up with that one. Robert Munsch usually has parts in his story that you can chant along or repeat along with him. And then the last page is usually that zinger, the part that you're not expecting will happen. So if you've got some of those, great job. Maybe you had some of your own. So without any more waiting, Smelly Socks by Robert Munsch. When Tina wanted new socks, her mom took her to the only store in town. This store has only black socks, said Tina. Can we please go across the river and get some really good socks? We can't drive right across the river. There's no bridge there, said Tina's mom. You know it's a long, long, long way to the only bridge. And besides, we don't even have a car to drive. So Tina went to her grandfather and said, "Can you please take me across the river in your boat? I want to buy some really good socks." "The motor is not working on my boat," said her grandfather. "Row," said Tina. "We can row. I will row and you can sit in the back of the boat." "You'll row?" said her grandfather. "Yes," said Tina. "Rowing's easy." So Tina got in the boat and rowed slowly. Splash, splash, splash. And the boat went in circles. Swish, swish, swish. Tina rowed fast. Splash, 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 splash. And the boat went in fast circles. Swish, 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 swish. The boat forgot how to row, said Tina. Boys and girls, who's forgotten how to row? The boat or Tina? I heard you loud and clear. It was Tina. "You sit in the back and tell me what to do," said her grandfather. So Tina sat in the back and told her grandfather how to row. And her grandfather rowed all the way across the river. Can you imagine your grandfather or grandmother rowing all the way across the river while you just sat there? Then they walked all the way through the town to the big sock store. Boys and girls, can you see the big sock store in the city there? At the store, Tina tried on socks that were too big, socks that were too little, socks that were too blue, and socks that were too pink. Tina tried on millions and millions of socks. Finally, she found a perfect pair of red, yellow, and green socks. Then, since it was almost time for dinner, Tina and her grandfather ran back to the boat. And this time, the boat sort of remembered how to row. So Tina rowed round and round and round, and still they got to the other side. When they got back, Tina ran home and yelled, "Socks, socks, wonderful socks! These are the best socks I've ever seen in my life. Grandpa rode me all the way across the river to get these socks, so I am never going to take them off." Never, said Tina's mother. "Never," said Tina. "Uh-oh," said Tina's mother. Boys and girls, why do you think Tina's mother said, "uh-oh," when she heard that Tina was never going to take off those socks? Because they're going to be smelly socks? Is that what you were thinking? So Tina wore her socks for a long time. She wore them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 whole days. Her mother said, "Tina, I know you love those socks. Just let me wash them really quick. They'll start to smell if you don't get them washed." Socks, socks, wonderful socks. I'm never going to take them off. After Tina wore her socks for 10 more days, the kids at school started saying, "Tina, what a smell! Change your socks." Okay, this is the third time Tina said this in the book. Maybe you can start saying it with me. "Socks, wonderful socks," said Tina. "I am never going to take them off." After Tina wore her socks for 10 more days, a whole flock of Canadian geese flew over her house, and they dropped right out of the sky because the smell was so bad. 2 moose walked through her yard, and they fell over from the smell. Ducks, raccoons, squirrels, they all fell over when she walked to school. Finally, even a skunk fell over from the smell. Tina's friends decided they had to do something. They all came to her house and they knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. When Tina opened the door, they grabbed her and they carried her off to the river. Then they held her noses and they took off her socks. Boys and girls, can you make a good, thoughtful prediction as to what's going to happen next in the story? Okay, let's see how you did with that prediction. Some of the kids held Tina, and some of the kids washed the socks. Scrub, 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 scrub. All of the fish in the river floated to the top and acted as if they were dead. Wow, boys and girls, that must have been some smelly socks. The kids washed some more. Scrub, 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 scrub. All the beavers ran out of the river and went to live with Tina's grandfather. And then they washed some more. Scrub, 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 scrub. Far down the river, people said, "How come our river is smelling like smelly socks?" Finally, the socks were clean. "Wow," said Tina. "They look nicer when they're clean." "Wow," said Tina. They smell nicer when they're clean. Wow, said Tina. Oh, they feel nicer when they're clean. So Tina put on the socks and said, I am going to wear clean socks from now on. Wow, it really seems like Tina's learned her lesson. The beavers left her grandfather's house and went back to the river. The Canadian geese got up off the ground and flew away. The fish, they decided they were not dead after all, and they jumped and splashed in the river. Tina went to her mom and said, Mom, my socks, they're nice and they're clean. And I think it would be really nice if you took me to town to get a nice red, yellow, and green shirt. Well, will you promise to wash it, said Mom. Nope, said Tina. If I wait long enough, the kids at school will do it for me. So boys and girls, there's that zinger at the end. There is that zinger at the end. You think Tina has learned her lesson with her smelly socks, but the only lesson she learned is that her friends would help her out. If her socks or maybe her shirt got dirty again. I hope you liked that story. One of the things that I think about when I hear that story is we have some sock problems in the Peroni house. One of the sock problems is Mr. Peroni takes his socks off at night when he watches TV, and then he doesn't throw them in the laundry basket. Another sock problem we have in the Peroni house is after all of our clothes are washed and dried, there's always socks missing. It's like there's some sock fairy or sock monster that takes our socks. And so we always have mismatched pairs of socks. But what's kind of nice is that you can always wear a pair of mismatched socks and nobody will really notice. So until next time, boys and girls, miss you.